Hey guys, we're doing a surprise live today with Taly Goody and lawyer Britt. Okay.
Hi. How you
Hi!
doing? Hi, it's good to see you.
It's so good to see you. I'm going big and curly today.
Your hair looks amazing. I love it.
I've never do it like this, but you know
That's
what?
great.
Thank you. I missed you. How
I
are
miss you
you?
too. I'm good. I'm good. I'm hanging in there. Third trimester. So it's flying by.
I feel like it has flown for you. I feel like it was the other day you said you were pregnant.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh,
Hi.
hello. Oh,
Hi,
my
Britt.
beautiful mamas. How are you?
Good. How
Mama
are
and mama to
you?
be.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Hi, Rob.
I love Rob. Hi,
Just saying
Rob.
comments. Well, it's nice to see you, ladies.
Nice
Very
to see you guys
excited about
too.
this.
Yeah, me too. It's been way too long since the last one.
Yeah.
Taly, I'm meeting up. Britt and I are gonna hang out in Palm Springs in a couple
Oh
of
my
weeks.
Palm
gosh. In
Beach.
Palm
Palm
Springs?
Beach. Palm Beach.
Oh,
Palm
God, I was like,
Beach.
hold
Palm
on a
Beach.
second. I'm like, why are you
Not
coming
Palm
to
Springs.
Palm Springs? I'm there too. Hello.
Can you tell that I've never been to either?
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I'm so excited. That's so fun. Wait,
I
when is
know.
that happening? Soon?
In May.
20th? Or no, May. In May. In
In
May.
May. Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah. What are
okay.
you due?
June 16th.
Oh, it's coming up.
Summer
So
baby. Summer
exciting. Yes,
baby.
summer baby.
Yeah.
So how are you planning? How's that going along? Are you going to take a maternity leave? Or are you going to work through it like our badass Francesca here?
I am going to work through it. I know it. Yeah, that's what you did, Francesca, right?
Doing.
Yeah,
Doing.
yeah.
Yeah,
And like,
doing, excuse me.
no, I like no joke. I took a call. I mean, I was sending emails when I was in labor. I took a call, like a Zoom, a FaceTime call the Monday. I gave birth on a Friday, was out of the hospital by Saturday, and like I got an email from this really big NFT project team, and I was like, holy crap, I can't say no to this. So you just do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of like I'm working right now to make sure, obviously, that I'll have people stepping in, team stepping in for like little things, but I'm still going to be managing, I'm not going to completely disconnect. And I think that it's going to be fine because we're going to, there's going to be downtime, I'm sure, Francesca, or I'm like feeding and I can check my emails or, I feel like it can happen when we can do it.
You don't really have a choice as an entrepreneur.
Right.
And
You really
Taly,
don't.
I had a lot of guilt on both ends. I
Mm-hmm.
had guilt because I wanted to, not because of me, right? If I wanted to be with my kid, I would be with my kid. Like I would go and sit with him,
Right.
but the guilt was more of like, oh, this perception. Everyone keeps telling me like, why am I working when I should be resting and relaxing? And I got so angry I literally was annoyed with people telling me like, why are you doing emails? Like it's my choice.
Mm-hmm.
So then on the other end, you have clients that are emailing you like that aren't giving you grace, that want everything
Right. Right. I can imagine.
so
Yeah.
you have to balance that and find whatever it is that's right for you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm already like telling people like, oh yeah, I'm going to be like working through it. And there's people that are like, wow, like, you could just tell they're already kind of like, are you sure about that? You're going to want like 3 months not doing anything. You're not going to be able to function. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. And I'm like, why do you guys have to be so negative about this? Like, let me do my
Yeah,
thing.
just do your own
Seriously.
thing. I don't even really talk about it that much. I will, and like once I'm farther removed from it, but
Right.
like the judgment is real. And for people watching, like the best response I had to someone or comment that someone gave was basically like, just you're great, like keep going. It was very like supportive instead
Yeah.
of like commenting like, oh, you should be resting. I can't explain it, but there's a lot of judgment even in people not meaning to be, but
Right.
it comes out that way.
Well, and I think what I've noticed since being pregnant is that there's this like misperception that we all have to be either a mom or you have to work. And it's impossible to do both, like, and I hate that. And I hate that everyone thinks that we're weak because we're pregnant. You know what I mean? We're not. We're strong. We can still do everything. And so I just, like, it's just interesting to see how people kind of switch things up on you when you're pregnant. And Britt, you know, obviously maybe in the future, but
We'll get there.
Yeah. But I don't know if you experienced that. We don't have to talk so much about pregnancy, but we can, you know.
We got a lot of things
No,
to
I
talk about.
think
We're
it's
gonna talk about
important for
pregnancy.
people
We
to
gotta talk
hear.
about Britt's engagement.
Yes. And I see Jen in the comments. She's also in the same boat as me. She has a June baby on the way, a late June baby. So exciting.
That is so
Congratulations.
exciting. Yeah, congratulations. That's amazing.
I had a
But I think
realization that it's, oh, go ahead, Britt.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I had a realization that it's not doing everything. It's saying no to things and knowing that you cannot do everything. Because if you try to do everything, you're going to kill yourself. You literally will die. And then you're pleasing other people. So you have to figure out what's important to you, and then you say no to everything else.
Yeah. Isn't it all about prioritization? Like, what is important at this moment? Is it taking a call, or is it attending to my baby and being there? You know what I mean? I think it just comes down to that.
Yeah, and that's products overall. Like, for a minute there, this like 8 months ago, I was taking on so many things all at once, and I'd like dial back and be like, okay, like what's my main goal here? Like, what am I trying to build? What am I trying to do for long term? And like, do these things match what I'm trying to do long term? And so I started to say no to different things. So people come to me like, oh, I've got this great opportunity, and I always hear people out. I always want to hear them out, get details, because it might be something I'm into, or there might be somebody I know that could be into it. But I always like come from that space of like, is this going to get me to the long-term goal? Is this something that like I'm really passionate about? And if the answer is no, I just say, hey, you know, my plate's full. I can't take that on right now.
Britt,
and that's it.
What about, okay, because we know that you've launched your podcast, which is super amazing. What do you do regarding other people's podcasts? Do you do them? Do you find them helpful?
Yeah, I love going on other people's podcasts, answering questions and however I can. And I will usually take a podcast if it's related to like professionals, so like adjusters, lawyers, whatever, or it's in like my law industry. So it's in the property insurance industry. It's usually where I try to stay because I'm trying to build a brand in those areas. So, you know, if somebody comes to me and they're like completely left field, like totally different, or and also like, you know, women. So if a woman has a podcast about like women in business, I'll do that too. But if it's something like completely left field, like they're just like a Gary Vee type business podcast, I'm usually just like, thanks, but no thanks, doesn't vibe.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like that's something I've been working on too, Britt, is just like, okay, there's so many different opportunities coming your way. It's a matter of really evaluating, like, does this match my goals, my long-term goals? And do I just need to say no? I mean, because I'm such a yes person. Like, I'm like, yeah, I want to do this. I want to be there. Yeah, I want to do this. Like, awesome idea, you know? But I think really it comes down, especially for me now, I really have to like fine tune where I'm spending my time.
Right.
The power of no. Like,
yes.
I posted about this the other day that like it's the most empowering word, and for so long I have been that yes person. I've been the person, we all have, as like type A, you know, you want to do your best, but once you realize that if you said yes to everything, then you would not be able to do that. You have no control of your life because you're just doing things for other people and pleasing other people. So that's Taly, being intentional with what you do, because your time, you only have a certain amount of time. Like, I work 9 to 5. I'm all 5 to 7 is a shit show at my house. Like, you got to bathe this kid, you got to make this kid eat, and this one's crying because having 2 under 2. But like that, those are our 2 hours. We're like, sorry, no, I'm not taking a call. But then I log in later. So you figure it out. And then Britt, with what you said about being like really intentional, I've done that too. And I'd like to know what you guys are doing for your business plans, because I literally like sat with a piece of paper and was like, okay, here are my 3 businesses that I have. Like, everything falls under the Francesca name, but I have the trademark attorney, I have my NFT stuff under Central Lawyer, and then Law School Mastermind. And I need to be talking about all of the things I'm doing and being very intentional. Because I was realizing I was kind of all over the place with everything and doing what you said, Britt, like the general business podcast, which I'm like, I don't know if it's not worth my time. Not only is it not worth my time, but I don't have the time. Because if I'm doing that, I'm wasting time doing the other things.
Right.
Well, first of all, you're amazing, Francesca. I mean, you do have all these different businesses, and that's awesome. Congrats to you for balancing all of that.
2 babies, 2 family.
Yeah.
You're rocking it.
Yeah, but no, I swear, like, guys, I say no to I say no to family. Like that was the hardest thing. Like my family is really like Italian and old school, and my mom's probably watching this. Like, like they want, you know, you to hang out with them on weekends and to have Sunday night dinners. And I'm like, I don't have the time because that's what I'm doing. I'm building law school mastermind on a Saturday. I'm recording my content on a Sunday. Like, yes, I want to be doing other things, but I want to build my business like more than anything. And I'm going to do that in the next couple years so that I have flexibility, you know, in my 40s.
Yeah,
Right.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
And it's also, you have, it's like we were saying before, you have a finite amount of time, but you also have kind of a finite amount of energy too. And if you're giving your energy to 10 different things, you're not necessarily exceeding or succeeding or excelling in any of those things, right? So if you dial it back to 3 or 2 or 4, then you're going all in on those things. And people don't know how to say no. Like I didn't know how to say no to things, even especially like family, friends, whatever. Like I had no idea how to like say no gently without just saying like, no, that sounds terrible, or no, like I have no time for you. Like that sounds awful, right? So I've decided like for what I was just saying, like if somebody comes to me with an opportunity, I just tell them, hey, listen, plate's full. Like I can't take anything else right now. Like I wish you the best of luck, and that's it.
You gotta plan a wedding now, Britt.
Oh my
yes.
God. The second you tell anybody you're engaged, the next question is, so like, when are you getting married? What's the date? People asked me that 2 hours after we got engaged. I was like,
that is,
I have no plan.
One of the most annoying questions, definitely.
I haven't done anything. I've called like 3 venues, and then I was like, okay, well, this will be a way.
Just don't rush it.
Yeah, you need a good wedding planner.
Yeah.
But our families are in a rush, so we
they
gotta
are.
pump the brakes on them.
Oh. I just like one piece of advice is I really liked wedding planning, and I like had like a really good time period between like when I got engaged. I had like 1.5 years in between or more, and it was awesome. I like got to really soak in every single step and really enjoy it. So
yeah.
I mean,
now you can't even get a venue. Like if you like want a nice venue, especially in South Florida, they're booking like 14 to 16 months out anyway. So
okay,
got time.
Well, that's good then. Yes, you got that. But also back to what we were talking about I think it also comes down to setting boundaries in everything you do. And that's also not including just like setting boundaries with other people, but it's setting boundaries with yourself. Because sometimes you might overwork yourself too, right?
Good point.
I mean, as much as like, yes, Saturdays, Sundays, it's your time to spend more, you know, do more work. It's also time to like kind of take a little breather and unwind and do some self-care, whatever that is. So it's tough to balance all of that.
I agree.
I think the key
boundaries
is just
for yourself is hard.
Yeah.
Being intentional, and then like not like the guilt. Okay, if I'm I already have my title for a book. Literally, it's gonna be fuck the guilt. Fuck the guilt, because there's so much guilt. Like I said, I grew up in like a really close knit family. Like, so there's family pressure, then there's the mom guilt, the work guilt, but you really have to let go of all of it and understand that if you set your goals, like what is the most important thing? And for me right now, that's my business, my kids and my husband, of course, but like I need to build this business for them so that I can spend more time with them in my 40s and my 50s. Like that is, we're building my life around this right now.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
That's okay.
Long-term vision. Yeah.
That's great.
Know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. But that's true about the guilt. Like anytime you're like doing something else, like, okay, I'm relaxing this afternoon. Then I start thinking, oh, but I could be doing all of this other work that I should be doing that's on my like lists.
I know we all have like that master to-do list, and we're like, ooh, a free hour. What can I do?
Yeah.
How can I fill this free hour? And it's like, wait, take a break. Like if you're doing, you're gonna burn yourself out, which I've
totally
done before, and it was exhausting. How big is your team now, Taly?
So I do a lot of outsourcing now. So it's like I have 4 people that are actually on my team directly, but I also have like companies that I'm outsourcing tasks to.
That's awesome.
So I don't know if it's growing. It's growing.
Yeah, well, I would count the people that you're outsourcing to as well, because they're doing work for you. They're technically on your team, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I would say like between 5 and 7 then. Yay!
Awesome. Look at that.
I got a social media assistant, so it's awesome. She's great. She's in law school and she's killing it. I don't know if she's on here, but if you're on here, you're doing awesome. So yeah.
That's great. Yeah, having a social media manager is like a cheat code.
Yeah.
Because like I at this point, like Chelsea and I are in such like a good sync that I like have all this raw everything and I just give it to her and I'm like, here you go. Make this look good. Make sure it gets posted. Make sure like I give her the ideas and the raw video, the raw assets, whatever. And I'm just like, here, make this look good. And she's really good at it. So we have a good dynamic going.
Yeah. And I think that takes some time to like get into that groove with one another. Like,
yeah.
So she knows what you like. And that's where we're at right now. Like she's learning how my style is, what I like, what I usually, you know, like to post and things like that. But
yeah,
Taly,
but it's worth it the long run.
Yeah.
I scheduled, okay, so like being intentional again, I scheduled 2 months of content.
Wow.
So that it was getting
That's
posted.
awesome.
And I was like literally like in the hospital, like giving birth, and like reels were going out. And people
That's
are like
I
messaging
need to
me,
do
like,
that. Wait, give me some
That's
tips on how to do
fantastic.
that. That is like
Yeah,
2
I
months
want to
of
hear.
content.
Because I've
Is
only ever done
so
a month.
yeah.
Okay, so you batch record, literally batch record a bunch of stuff. And now that you have a social media manager, for people who don't have social media managers, just keep doing it. Batch record a bunch of stuff and don't overthink your videos. Like I would literally sit and just talk about trademarks, talk about another trademark thing, talk about another trademark thing, and just record like 6 videos in under 10 minutes because I'm just talking. So I think it gets easier like once you do more of them, but like come up with a list of 10 questions and just answer them on your phone. Like so make
That's
it
exactly what I do.
and then if you have a social media person, if you have help, like I would send the videos in a Dropbox file and then my person just edits them. Like, Brittany and I have the same social media manager.
Right,
Chelsea.
right. You guys mentioned. Yeah.
Chelsea, you're
But
listening.
then I use Canva to make, I did the same thing. Don't overthink a post. Just think what do you want to say and then put it down. Even sometimes there's typos and things like proofread once. If there's a typo, it's not the end of the world. And then Canva has a calendar scheduler. So I made literally 2 months of content for Law School Mastermind that was going out itself. And then someone was posting my reels. I literally did nothing.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
That's really
so
awesome.
that I could spend time with my baby and work.
Yeah. That's what I have to do. I have like 2 months to do that, to create like batch content for a few months. So that is one of my goals.
Don't overthink it. Just,
Yeah.
you know, then what I did last month, I didn't want to make new reels. So, and you guys can go on, like, this is not a secret. You can go and Chelsea took all of my TikToks from a year ago and posted them on Instagram.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah.
Yeah, repurposing.
Wait, this question here, do you need to have Canva Pro for that, Francesca? Someone just asked.
Probably. It's worth it. I think it may be like $5 or $10 a month.
Yeah.
But if posting on a
it's like
scale,
$9.99.
bringing you money, it's bringing business.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's worth it. I pay like, I think it is $9.99, or I don't know why I think mine is like $12.99, but whatever it is, it's worth it for Canva Pro.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Britt,
I've been starting. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you have a ton of stuff in the works. Like
What's going on with you?
Yeah, I do have a ton of stuff. I've been starting the opposite way. So I plan like crazy. Like I've got a whole Notion board of like tons of ideas, and like I keep that idea thing like popping. So if like I feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to record this week or next week or whatever, when I'm batching, I have things to pull from. But lately I've just been like thinking to myself, like, what do people need to hear? Like, what do other professionals need to hear? What do other like business owners need to hear? What do homeowners need to hear? And it just kind of like has been coming to me. So I'll write out like a long caption or something. I'll make that into like an email, and I'll make some type of video or reel from it, from like what I've already recorded, which I think is like working better for me than starting with the asset, which is what I was doing for a while, which is fine. You could do that too if you have like an inspiration or an idea. But now I'm kind of starting from like the message standpoint instead. And then I make everything else based on it. Because I'm trying to like, my whole motto here is like, let it be easy. Like, what's the easiest way to do this? And then the easiest way for me is just like, okay, what do I need to say? What do I have to say? What's on my mind, etc. And then getting that out there in every way possible, in a video, in a post, in a caption, in an email, sometimes in a podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think with creating content, it really, people make it like a lot more complicated than it needs to be, right?
Yeah.
Like you just overthink it, like Francesca, you were saying, and you're like, you just don't get down to what is the message? What do you want to get across? What value am I trying to provide to the viewer?
Yeah. People get caught up in like trends, or they get caught up in like like making it like high quality production quality. But in reality, like, just get started and then you get in a flow and then you can make production quality. I mean, I've done production quality. Like, well, I'm a videographer now for YouTube. And the flow that we have is like, I pick like, I have like a list of ideas and I pick like 3 or 4. We sit down and batch record all of them. And then we have content for the month and we just keep doing that on repeat. So for that, it's a little more high quality because I wanted like a real videographer for YouTube because you need the quality audio and video and like they do the descriptions and everything else. And that's easy for me to just like sit down, be me, and then have them do the rest. But for things like Instagram, TikTok, like you don't need something that's like high production. Like I usually get more views, more engagement on something that is literally like me sitting here in my backyard recording myself dancing. Like it gets so much more like traction than if I was like sitting here with like a whole production crew.
I think lawyers just like kind of freak out, you know, like, oh, what if I say something that's wrong? Or what if someone thinks it's legal advice? Like, are we past the point where people understand that social media is like not legal advice and that
I hope
like,
so.
Yeah. That's like the number one question people ask when like about like, oh, what do you do about legal advice? And I'm like, I've never really come across a problem like that before. It's
ever.
It's information. That's it.
Because it is information. We're not telling you in this circumstance, do this. We're saying, hey, this is what happens. Here's how this works.
It's very general. There's no specific fact pattern that we're applying the law to. So
think of how many lawyers that fear has prevented them. And I mean, right now, socials, like, I'm done explaining to people why you need to be on social media. Like, I'm talking about like Web3 and like NFTs. Like, I'm not trying to tell people like why.
You're on the next level.
I'm on the next level, but like, it really is really important. If you don't have your digital presence in 3 years, it's going to be like, do you even have a business? What's that saying? Like, if a tree falls in the forest, like, and you didn't hear it, did it really fall?
Did it even make a sound? Yeah.
That's true. That's very true.
I know. Yeah, I wish more people would adopt it though, like earlier on, you know, because I get messages all the time from people. They're like, oh, like I'm thinking about going out on my own this year. Like, you know, I want to start X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, start now. Like start right now in your current situation. Like you can still market as yourself as a lawyer at a certain firm. I mean, any lawyer at any firm that gets to a certain point where they're bringing in business, they're going to networking events, they're speaking in front of people, etc., to bring in business, and they're doing it as them. So you can do the same thing on social media, just more people are going to see it. Right. Which it's like, and then once you have that traction, then you go out on your own.
I'm not a firm.
You already, exactly. Or go to a firm. But what I'm saying is like, they want the next level. Like they want to get out of their like associate position, start bringing in business and like building their book of business. But like you can do that now, you know what I mean? You don't need to wait until your partner, you don't have to wait until you're on your own. Like you can just do it now and build up your brand.
Yeah. And if the people above you aren't letting you, because that happens, or they take your clients, then you leave. And like, I went to a firm where I had no salary with 0 clients, but I wanted to build a book of business. So that's day 1, I created an Instagram account. Day 2, I met Taly and Britt.
I totally forget that you work at a firm, Francesca. I don't know why. I forget that.
You forget because I brand myself. You
do a good job. Yeah.
But it's cool. It's cool because I have a team. I have paralegals, and I don't have to deal with what you guys deal with, which is all the firm management stuff.
Yeah. That's true.
I like the firm management side.
I know,
like big reason I started my own firm. I was just like, I like this. I like the business. I like systems, like marketing, going to court.
Yeah, right.
Depends on what we're
arguing. I would rather focus mainly on just the business side than actually like the legal work in a sense.
Yeah, I'm the same. Which is funny because we were like, aren't you a lawyer? And I'm like, well, yes, but somebody has to run the business.
Right.
Who else is going to run the law firm?
Everyone, like my husband and I were talking about this morning, that law school just doesn't teach you. I mean, it's sales.
Except like,
it's sales.
Case law.
Yeah. It's theory, what you learn in law school.
Or not even practical classes, like sales 101. And I know that word like throws people off because like you don't want to think of it in a professional context with lawyers or doctors, but at the end of the day, it's business development. Okay, we'll call it business development. If you are not bringing in business, you're relying on someone else to bring in business. And what happens if that person goes away or their business slows down? So everyone should just be enough of a salesperson that they understand how to bring in business.
Right. Totally. I think if there are any law students on here, I took one really practical class in law school. It was called Law Practice Management, and it was from A to Z on how to open your own law firm. And I thought it was awesome. But that was like a rare gem. Like you don't get those, you know?
No.
They're like
not really.
common.
I don't think we had that where I was, or if we did, I just didn't know about it, I guess.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, but there's also a dynamic to be said about like somebody who really hates sales, because I have a very good friend who is an incredible attorney, and she hates, like she had her own firm and then she switched gears and went and joined a big firm, and she's so much happier because she hated the business building side. So I feel like there's a good dynamic there with people who are like, I want to argue cases, like I want to go try cases, I want to do the legal work, paired with somebody who's like, that's, you know, more power to you, I'm going to go bring in the business. I think that's a perfect like dynamic, which I think is like, that's the dynamic I have with my 3 attorneys. Is like, they're really great attorneys, they love the legal arguments, they're really great attorneys, and I bring in the business.
Totally.
Well, yeah,
I think that's like the one thing I say when people are like, oh, I'm thinking about going on my own. I'm like, okay, yeah, just be ready to know if you want to go on your own, it's not, you know, 100% actually doing legal work. You're doing a lot of the business development, the business administrative work, a lot of things that you wouldn't even think that you'd have to do, you know? So that's definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's different. You have to know what you want. Definitely know what you want. Do we have questions? I haven't seen anything here.
Does anyone have questions? We're open book, so anything you guys want to ask.
Are moots really important for a law student? Moot court, I guess.
I did not do moot court, so
no.
Someone else answer this.
I think that it's important if you want to be maybe in the courtroom a lot. Like that's your goal. Like you want to be a trial lawyer, you want to be doing trials, or you want to be in the court. Otherwise, you really don't need it. I didn't do it. I mean, look, I didn't do it either, so maybe I'm not the best person to speak on that.
Did you do it, Francesca?
I was the editor of my law journal, so I did a law journal because I've never been into court. I avoid court. I know you guys, it's different, but I really don't like litigation. So I definitely knew I wanted to do a journal instead.
I did law review too. And then I tried out for a trial team and I made it. And then like day one, I was like, wait, I don't want to do this. This is terrible. And so I quit. But I mean, I would argue maybe like try everything and then kind of see what you like, because you're gonna find something. Like I wish I would have done or tried at least the class that I think it's probably available everywhere, motions and depots. Like I thought I was going to be going to the contractual side. I was all gung-ho about contractual law, and then here I am in litigation, and I was like it was tough for me to like get over that hump in my first year being an attorney, and then someone just saying take this depot, and I was like, oh my gosh, take what? What is this? So I wish I would have done that, just like expose myself to more at the time.
Right.
That's what I'll say.
I think I did a trial practice class in law school, and that was like a big challenge for me because I'm like kind of like I don't really want to be in the courtroom that much, you know. It was never really my goal, but we did a whole trial from start to finish, and it was like I thought it was great.
That's cool too.
I think it's good for anyone just to like put yourself out there and work on your public speaking skills.
That's huge.
Because no matter what area of law you do, you need to have good public speaking because you got to communicate with your clients. You need to know how to speak. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, I agree. Public speaking, because so many people are so afraid of it. And if the first time you have to do public speaking is like in a courtroom representing somebody or like at some other function, like you're going to panic, and it's like better to get it out of the way sooner so that you can improve. And then by the time you need to do it for a client, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I did public speaking was in front of my 1L class, like this isn't the first time I did public speaking, but the first time in law school, I was running for whatever SBA, the Student Bar Association, and you have to go present in front of each class. And so at that time, this before I got LASIK, I wore contacts. So I wore my glasses that day. And I remember taking my glasses off to speak in front of each class so I didn't have to see anybody. So
I love that.
I could
That's
barely
actually
see their
really
faces.
smart.
Yeah, because I was like terrified. I was like, you know what? If I can't see anybody, maybe I will be like a little more calm about it. And I was more calm because I couldn't like see people's faces, like kind of like gauge, like, you know, like are they
Their facial expressions. Yeah.
right?
There
Are
are
they
19
judging me or
people
whatever?
listening to us now, and we don't see them. So that's why like pressure's off.
There's a difference. Yes, there you go.
That's funny.
Also,
I saw a question here. Oh, go ahead, Francesca.
I was gonna say, all the events that like I've done in the past 2 years have been virtual. It's gonna be weird the first time I sit in like a panel and look out. Like it's gonna freak me.
I think I've done a couple where I have to be in person. I'm like, wow, this is a lot more nerve wracking than I remember. And I'm like, hello, people.
When I was at the CEO lawyer event in December and I was on that
Yeah.
panel, that was like I was getting on stage and I was like, oh, this is different.
Yeah.
This is hundreds of people and I am literally on a stage and I was like, okay, this is a big time. But it was fun. After I started speaking, I was like, oh, this is a little more fun. Like not a little more fun, but it was enjoyable to be in front of people because afterwards you could talk to people. People
Right,
coming up
right.
like, oh, let me talk about this, or can I ask you a question about that? Like that was fun too.
I hope he
Totally.
does it again next year and Taly and I can join.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. I think he will. Yeah, for sure. That was a great event. I really liked that.
Yeah, I love that. What is his name again, Britt?
Ali Awad.
Yeah, how can you forget it? Ali gives you a lot of cash.
I
A lot
love
of
that.
money.
That's so
It's amazing.
catchy.
I know it's great. It's great, but it was a really good event, and I think it was great. Obviously, it was a great event. The way it was put on, production, the information, but also it was great because the people that were there. Like it was so many people that I had known and interacted with and messaged with on Instagram and Facebook and social media, and then just like meet them in person and like talk to them and hang out with them. Like that was really fun.
Yeah, that is fun.
Yeah,
I wish I could have
liked
gone
that.
and I would have met you in person.
December.
I feel like I've met you guys in
again.
person already though. So
I know. Francesca's saying like, oh, we're gonna meet. And I'm like, wait, I guess it's the first time in person.
wait, if I remember correctly, I'm taller than you guys, right? And I'm only 5'3".
Yeah.
You say only, but I'm pretty sure that you and I are over 5 foot.
I don't know why. I feel like that is so. I'm always the shortest person, and now I'm gonna be the tallest person when we hang out.
Oh,
I love that she's gonna be the tallest by like this much taller than I am. Okay.
Okay, I saw a question I think we should answer.
Okay.
It was about how important is going to a tier 1 law school? So I don't know if anyone wants to answer that first.
I think the question is, what do you want to do? Like, where are you
Right.
leaning towards? Because if you want to work on like Wall Street, represent these like big, huge companies, like, work at like a really, really reputable, like, you know, top 500 or whatever company, or like really reputable firm, like top 50 firm, you're gonna need to go to like a pedigree school. You're gonna need Ivy League because they only hire out of those. And
Right.
if you don't go to Ivy League, it's gonna take longer to get there because you're gonna have to go to a different job first, like a lower tier law firm, and then work your way up there. So you can do it, it's gonna take longer. But I mean, I went to like a tier 4 school and I did not
I did
care
too. Tier 4
because
school.
yeah, I didn't care because my goal was never to be like in the top dogs doing like the big law thing. That was never my goal. So I was like, I'm just gonna go become a lawyer and we'll figure it out. And here we are.
I think
And
people
honestly,
go, Taly, sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to add really quickly. And I have never been asked by clients, where did you go to law school? So I'm just throwing that out there. None of my clients care about that. They just want to know that I'm doing a good job for them, communicating with them. And that's basically it. I think that's the most important thing. But Francesca, you have you went to a pretty good school, like tier 1.
When I went, it was ranked 49. So it was like right under.
Yeah.
But the question is, okay, not even the question. For me, I suggest go to the best school that you can get into with the most money.
Yes, that's great advice.
Really try to get scholarships. There's no reason why these schools have a ton of money. Try to go for money if you can get them, and then think about it like getting some scholarship money, because I got a full ride to Cardozo, and
Awesome.
it was a no-brainer for me. I'm like, okay, I'm going here. But like, I had no idea about Cardozo. I had no idea that anything about it. And then I found out that it was like the #1 for IP. And that's how I got into IP. I would have never known either way. So I didn't go to the school because of the type of law. I kind of thought like where the most money and best school.
Yeah, getting scholarships is huge. So if, yeah, like Francesca said, I think that was the best concise answer. Go to the best school that gives you the best money.
Yeah.
Or the most money.
Yeah, I agree with that. I lived with my parents in law school, so I went with like scholarship and like lowest cost for me.
That's
And it worked
awesome.
out.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, 'cause like, you can get into a tier 1 school, but then like, are you going to come out with like a ton of debt?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And maybe not have a job, you know, just you're competing with people from all over the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just because you go to a really good school doesn't mean that you're going to graduate with like a top job. That's the reality.
Yeah, no guarantee.
Totally. Yeah.
Because we're talking about law school, I have to tell everyone I'm doing a live webinar tomorrow, and
Ooh,
nice.
Once a month. People love them. It's called the 5 Steps to Law School Success. I'm like, yes, it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow at 7:00. I'm terrible at marketing.
7 Eastern.
7
That's
Eastern.
great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
No,
you should post something and like tag me and I'll share it on my story.
I know. I have to get my S together. Just been like, okay, like if you want to come, but people have been signing up. Like it's unrolling, which is cool that there's so many people who are going above and beyond, because I wish I had this. I wish someone taught me like how to network, how to send emails the right way, how to study the right way. I wish I had that like before law school, and this is everything. Like I basically do the 5 Steps to Law School Success, a free masterclass everyone can attend. And then if they like it and they want to join our private community, we do private monthly meetings, and then there's a on-demand course that teaches you how to study the right way, how to network, and basically how to get those really good internship opportunities, position your success.
That's great. Everybody,
That's awesome.
If you're in law school or thinking about law school, attend.
Yeah, and you have the law school mastermind class.
Yeah, that's what it's the masterclass, and then it leads into that. Like,
oh, I see. Okay.
So go to Law School Mastermind, and then there's a link in there where people can sign up. I think we have like 100 people signed up for.
Wow, that's awesome. Ooh, that's exciting. That's great. I want to do law school all over again so that I can attend your webinar. Not really.
Yeah, not really. I was going to say
Taly spoke last time. Britt, you're on my hit list. You're definitely coming in next.
Cool. Oh yes, that was so fun speaking to your class. Yeah,
that sounds awesome. Yeah. I love talking to like aspiring lawyers, aspiring like law firm owners, anybody who's like, I want to be successful, take that next step. I'm like, yes, I'm an open book.
Britt, that's what this is. It's a community. I call it like the success tribe. It's people who like want it, hungry. Yeah. Like they're the ones that are going to sign up for this. There's not lazy people like, oh, I guess I should attend this masterclass. Like, no, the people who want it are signing up.
Yeah.
And it's cool because the energy in the group, like everyone is just really happy to be there, and like we're all sharing ideas. It's a mastermind,
right?
On how to network and basically how to get these jobs, and I'm supporting them as much as I can by bringing in actual legal industry leaders to network with them. It's just awesome. Law school doesn't have this, and I understand they're trying. There's like this whole structure that they've been doing for hundreds of years, but these students need to know how to write a basic cold email. Like, how do you do a basic email? I'm teaching them, and I get these emails from law students all the time. It's like 4 paragraphs long.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That is my pet peeve. If you are a law student, do not email an attorney with 10 paragraphs and not getting to the point of what you're trying to ask for, because that is just, we can't read all of that.
I think people, they think it's professional, I think, but it really, like, because they've never been an attorney, they've definitely never been a law firm owner, so they don't like understand, like, it's so time consuming. And I just want to be like, get to the issue.
Just write like
IRAC this for me.
Yeah, write 3 sentences. That's it. I'm happy to read. You want a phone call with me? Sure. Just write it really concisely. Okay, we'll set it up. That's it.
No, that's so huge, because they don't understand that. And then the problem is, like, you're not intentionally ignoring them. You're subconsciously ignoring them because you're like, oh my gosh, this is more work I have to do now.
And then it goes to the bottom of my inbox and I forget to respond.
Right.
Correct.
Exactly.
So I teach them to send a very short email with a one-liner at the top on how you're connected. Like, make a cold email warm. if you may have a common interest, or you may have went to the same school, whatever it is, like one line on like why you wrote to them, why you're trying to connect with them, and then ask them for if they have a 15-minute call, and send them a Calendly link or offer to use their Calendly link. Like, make this easy for them.
Yeah,
Right.
Totally. 100%.
Yeah. I agree with that. And can we just like let the phrase "pick my brain" or "pick your brain" just die? I hate that phrase. I like, people say that, they're like, "Oh, can I pick your brain?" I'm like, are you a brain surgeon?
It is a weird.
That's the only person that's picking my brain.
That's really true.
You know, I would rather it be like, I don't know. It like
Your
irks me. That phase irks me. I would rather it be like, hey, like, I'd love to network and see how we can help each other. Let's get together or whatever. Can I buy you coffee? But pick your brain. It's like, ugh.
Oh,
just let that die.
Can we answer this one? Miami injury lawyer attorney asked, how much time, if any, do you guys invest in networking with local attorneys and professionals in your area? I thought that was going to read law students, but because I was going to say that law students can take up a ton of time, which is why I created that program so that I can
right.
And like, if you
with
want
other lawyers like in our area, I mean,
you're really good at this, Britt.
I'm good at it online and doing phone calls. I don't know how great I am at in-person things like lunches and meetings and coffees and whatnot, because I'm kind of a homebody and I work from home and I don't like getting dressed.
Me too.
So, but like, you know, sometimes I'll just go and I'll be casual, but I'm really good at like phone calls. Like, do you want to like hop on a phone call with me and talk about like this idea you have, or like how this happened, or like get advice on like this? Like, let's get on a call. I'm super good with that.
Yeah, I agree.
So networking in that sense, but like going to actual events, pretty rarely.
I also feel like networking nowadays has changed. Like, everything is just virtual now. Like, nobody really does in-person things unless they're like the like happy hour events or something. But other than that, I think everything is virtual now.
Because it's efficient.
Right.
Efficient. I can hop on a quick call, and I can also talk with people all over the country. It doesn't have to just be limited to local, but it's honestly efficiency. And Taly, you're going to see this. Like, as a new mom, being virtual is everything. Like, I understand why women have been out of leadership positions for so long. Like, this isn't a mystery. It's because there's been inflexibility. Companies haven't given women the ability to work remotely. They haven't given flexibility or good maternity leaves. Like, this is simple shit. Just have maternity policies and give women flexibility so that they can work remotely more. And COVID's changed that. Like, I was literally able to do business afloat because of being virtual.
Right.
But imagine if people had to go, like, if I was commuting 3 hours a day into the city every day, I would have never seen my kids.
Yeah.
Or if you just had to drive to go somewhere for one deposition, because now depots are just like Zoom. So you're like, imagine how much time you would waste, or to go to a 5-minute hearing at court.
Oh my gosh. I always tell people that. Like, I feel like when I tell like lawyers, like new baby lawyers in 5 years, about like going to court, they're going to be like, what? Like, that's the olden days. Because like, used to be like, you had to get up, get dressed, get in your car, drive there, find parking, find your courtroom, wait for your case to be called, and then reverse the whole process again. Like, what a waste of time.
It's
like
exhausting.
Now it is exhausting.
Driving.
And like, oh my gosh, driving, parking, walking, waiting. Now it's like, while you're waiting on Zoom, you're also answering emails, and then once you're called, you're like, oh, okay, here's my hearing, and then you're right back to working. Like, there's no like delayed time.
Right. Yeah.
Everything's more just efficient now. I honestly like don't want to do in-person events anymore unless like it's financially worth it. Like, if people are paying me to speak or paying me to travel, I don't think I'm gonna do them.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. I feel like COVID has made me like very like energy protected. Like, I'm like, okay, I got to protect my energy. If I go to this event, I'm going to be drained and I can't focus on anything. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so different.
Yes.
And I think
we've been more conscious.
Yeah.
It's hard for people who are of that generation where like they had to sacrifice. Like, women literally had to pick between not had to pick, but made serious sacrifices if they were going to raise kids or if they were going to do a job. Because like, I'll tell you right now, I would have been on the bus before my kid woke up, and I would have been home after he was asleep. And like, I probably have lost my shit and maybe would quit.
Or quit. Yeah.
But I don't have to choose anymore.
And that's great.
It is.
Yeah.
I really like that. I feel like bigger companies are finally starting to like become flexible. It's funny because I have a lot of team members now, and we hire people, and I always ask them, you know, like, what kind of position are you looking for? First word out of their mouth, always remote. I want a remote position. So many people are leaving these bigger firms in South Florida because these bigger firms are finally like, oh, we can go back to the office. Come back to the office.
And you have to go. They're requiring
I don't want to
go back to the office.
Of course, yeah, they're requiring you to come back, and some people don't even get it. Some people get a hybrid option. Some people don't get a hybrid option. So they're just like, I'm looking for something remote because they don't want to drive 45 minutes there, 45 minutes back in traffic. I mean, like, South Florida traffic's terrible, you know? So they're like, I want the efficiency of like being able to be at home. And I'm so puzzled why these big companies are not allowing this. These big law firms that are allowing. The only thing I can think is that, like, A, they don't think people are working at home, but there are ways to track whether or not people are getting work done. Or B, they have like these huge offices with these big leases, and they're like, what are we going to do? Keep this empty, you know? So maybe that's the only thing I can think. I don't know if you guys have different opinions about why they're not letting people work remotely or hybrid.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think it's because they don't think people are being productive, or they don't trust that they're doing their work.
There's also a lot of people who are making these decisions who don't have kids anymore.
Right.
That's true.
Literally, like, it's crazy. No one talks about this stuff. Once you have a kid, you're like, holy shit, like, no one talks about. How about the fact that kids in school get out at 3:00? Like, what does everyone do?
Yeah. That is true. I've never thought about that.
I know.
But it's like, yeah, I guess that's why they have like extended care, right? So like when there's working parents, this kids have a place to go. I never thought about that.
Oh yeah, or if they don't have that, then you have to pay someone to go pick up it. But if you are in a position where you're older, where you're more seniored, you know, you may not understand why people want flexibility, or if you can afford to pay people to do errands for you. Like, think about how many times when you guys were working in person, I couldn't do errands. I didn't do errands for like months because like some stuff had to get done during the week, or go to the doctor's appointment, or go to the dentist, and you couldn't really take off from work for all that. This has changed everything, and I am very vocal about it. I think that this is what was needed to have women really get those positions that are more managerial and more executive positions, because having flexibility.
Yeah, totally agree. I love how you just said you're vocal. I wanted to be like, you're vocal? No way. I had no idea.
My goal is to be the female Gary Vee at some point. He's also from New Jersey, so
yes, I love that.
I have no doubts you will get there.
Yeah, definitely.
I love it. Taly, I think you have a hearing.
I have a hearing, so I mean, yeah, if you guys want to hop off, or if you guys want to answer one more question, I'm good with whatever.
First employee,
I can't see the questions. Huh?
First employee, I'm reading with last question. First employee you guys hire, would you recommend multiple VAs or a rockstar case manager?
Ooh.
Rockstar.
You're doing, he does PI, so I get it. Case manager is so important. Having a really good one, right? I don't know.
I mean, my first like real, like, I had a VA contracted, but my first like real hire was a rock star paralegal. Like, amazing, somebody who I could like filter so much work to, because like you want to be able to hire somebody who's going to be able to handle as much as possible while you continue to build the business and then bring on more people later. But now, so Nikki, my paralegal, I hired her as my paralegal in December of 2020, and now she's our director of legal services. So she's literally helping me run the show. So hire like a rock star person that you see growing with you and like taking over a ton of responsibility, growing the business with you, et cetera. That's what I would say.
That's awesome. And they're like your right-hand person. That's so crucial.
She's my whole right arm. Like,
versus a junior attorney.
Yeah. Because you need someone that's going to do like it's going to be that person you delegate tasks to. They know exactly how you do things, and they're not an attorney. I think that's the important thing.
Yeah. And I think like if you hire a junior attorney, they're going to be doing the attorney work. They're going to be doing the attorney work, and it's like Taly was saying, you need somebody who's going to do a little more of the admin, and who can potentially like run more things in the business as you continue to grow. So, I mean, I had a paralegal and like 2 assistants, I think, 2 virtual assistants before I brought on my first associate.
Yeah. I think that's more important.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, this is great. Lovely to see you
fun.
guys. Can you guys come to California soon?
Yeah.
I'm in.
Okay.
Let me know when.
I'm
I have no
I'm
Come
not
to
pregnant
LA.
anymore. Never will be
Let me know when to
again.
get on a plane.
You guys can come visit me when I have the baby.
Yes, that sounds fun. I want to go to Palm Springs though. That Palm Springs
Yes.
sounds amazing.
I will come
I'm
with
ready.
you.
Palm Beach,
Yeah.
Palm Springs, we'll hit everything. Cool.
Yeah.
This was wonderful. Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Talk to you guys
Bye.
soon. Bye.
Have a good rest of your day. Bye.